Pictures up.
Let's roll sound. Tap speeds.
Camera speeds. 2. Awesome. Take 2. Mark.
Action.
God. I need help.
Planting seeds. I don't even know.
Hanky-panky.
Doing the dirty.
Screwing.
Getting it on.
Getting laid.
Fucking.
Sex.
I feel really comfortable talking about sex. Yeah.
Depends on the person, but yeah.
Certain situations it's fine. Depends on who I'm talking to.
It depends on the crowd, the who I'm talking to, I guess.
What do you mean?
Like, if I'm talking to one of my close friends, I'm super comfortable about it.
If I know them really well, then I have no boundaries. But if I'm not sure how comfortable they are with the subject, then I'm a bit more cautious with it.
You know your mom really well. Will you talk to your mom?
No.
Oh, so awkward. So awkward.
No, honestly, I don't think I would ever ask my parents about sex. Just because
Don't want to know.
I don't want to, yeah, I don't really want to know.
That would be super awkward.
My brother very much is more open to talking about sex and stuff, but we both know we don't talk to our parents about it.
I want people to feel more comfortable and open talking about sex so that we can start to fix some of the issues that we have around sex. And somehow this turned into a test of my own bravery.
So I'm going to film my interviews with my mom and my grandmother tomorrow, and I'm going to ask them questions about sex. I have no clue how it's going to go, but I hope that they are like open, and I'm going to go in this with an open mind, but I hope that they surprise me. I can't wait to see what they're going to say, but I'm also very nervous.
Just knowing Laura Grace, that the family that she comes from, I feel like they're pretty forward with these kind of opinions. So maybe they'd be more conservative the older they get compared to like us, but like for the generation, I think they would have been more
Then the mask.
progressive. Yeah, that's what I figured.
I can see that too.
I feel like your grandma might be like really open. I don't know. I feel like older people sometimes just like
Use it.
And she'll want to prove whatever everyone thinks wrong.
I know my grandma would be the same. I should just be open and she would say whatever.
No, not my grandma. In Vietnamese, she'd be like, gross.
Sex bad.
I don't think this project started as like something so personal, but I couldn't help but make it personal, and that's how it kind of became like about my own family and growing up in the South, and like the kind of pressures that you feel as women. And I think it has a lot to do as well with mothers and daughters.
I think that's cool though, because I think that's like a really cool opportunity to get to know your family better. Like
In front of a camera.
yeah.
That's my grandparents' house.
Shut up.
And this is mine.
Shut up, your grandparents live on your parents' lot. That's
Well,
so crazy.
technically it's the other way around.
When I was about 7 years old, my mother gave me a book written for 7-year-olds, told how flowers reproduce and how chickens reproduce and how puppies reproduce, and so I learned that way. It was the same book I gave you when you were a child that you thought was stupid.
It was stupid.
It worked. Made it sound very clinical, scientific, functional, not sexy, which is what children need to know.
At what point is it okay for a couple to sleep in the same bed when they visit family?
When they're married. Not from the moral standpoint, but out of courtesy to the homeowners. You just don't go to somebody's house and expect to sleep together. I mean, if the host put you together and you want to be together, that's one thing. Otherwise, assume that it would be uncomfortable and stay where you're supposed to. Sneak around like everybody else in the world had to. I don't think the abstinence method works. I don't think any of us should fool ourselves. I mean, no matter, despite the fact that I think people would be better off they'd wait till after high school. And just to show of hands here, how many of y'all looking back think that probably is not a bad idea to wait till after high school? I know not her, but you don't think so. No, you're a boy. You were too young. She got caught.
Say that again.
Oh no!
Not in the act, but just,
Oh
yeah.
Growing up, I remember you taught me, like, never text a boy first. I still have a bad habit where I can't text boys first. That has been brought to my attention by guys. Like, I'm sorry, it's a bad habit my mom taught me.
Well, do you feel like it's adversely affected you?
No.
Okay.
What about your mother?
Oh, good Lord. No, you don't talk about that. Not with my mother. Yeah, mom's a don't ask, don't tell person.
How did I learn about sex? Well, I guess I got married and had sex. That's how I learned about it. No, I did a lot of reading. I've always been a reader. And I brought a book home one time. What was that book? It was a real book about sex, and it was just, and I would read it in the bathroom. And I would hide it in there. And one day I went in the bathroom, and it was gone. I never asked my mother. She never said anything about it either. But I learned a lot from just reading, because I did read. Yeah. See them come when I call them? Fishes! I've got one.
My next question was, did you feel pressure to wait until marriage?
Oh, absolutely. My daddy would have killed me if he thought I'd gone out and had sex with him. And he'd have killed the boy, too. No questions about it.
How old were you when you got married?
I was 19 years old when I got married. Way too young. But at that age, and when I got married, most girls got married that young. Some younger, some a little older. I think that it would have been nice if somebody had said, sex can be pleasurable, and a lot of fun. But nobody ever said that to me. And I have to admit, I don't think I ever said that to my children. I did not know how to discuss sex with them. Have you interviewed your mother? Were you interviewing your mother?
Yeah.
Have you already done that? Oh, dear. How did she do? She did good. Yeah. Was it the same subject? Uh-huh. How did she know anything about sex?
You didn't teach her.
I know. She probably told you that, didn't she? I do think sex is very, very important between married people. And I think it's very important that you have a good sex life. And do some experimenting, I think that's good.
Like how?
Oh, no, come on, don't ask me how. Like odd places, maybe, so to speak. Hey, babe, I told him about the wood pile.
She's not filming. She is.
And I told him about the tree house.
Did we have a tree house?
Oh, listen, it's you.
Let's see. Can I remember? I thought kids just played in a tree house.
Yeah, well, we did, didn't we? My very best friend in high school was a guy, and he was homosexual. And there was some kind of teasing a little bit about Bobby being sissy or something like that. But he was a wonderful, wonderful person. And he had a really, really difficult time And he ended up committing suicide. And I often thought that it was probably because he never felt accepted. But we never discussed it. We just didn't discuss things like that. We didn't talk about it. And I think maybe had we talked about things like that, Bobby might still be alive today. I don't know.
So I learned about sex from books, and my mom told me a little bit. That was much more scientific, I think. She had this book, this old, like, really old book that explained very, like, technically the birds and the bees.
Did you read that?
It was horrible. Did I ever feel pressured to wait until marriage to have sex? To some degree, definitely. My mom was not happy when she found out that I had sex. I think she was also unhappy that I was so young, but she also wanted me to believe that that's what people did. She didn't want to put me on birth control then, but because she didn't want me having sex until I was like 40. But when I was gonna leave for college, she was like, all right, we're going to the doctor, we're gonna get a prescription for birth control, go off to college and don't tell me anything you do. Mm-hmm. She's like, I don't want to know and I don't care, you can just be on birth control because I know you've already had sex and you're ruined.
Yeah. Was there any reason you decided to have sex before marriage?
I wanted to. I wanted to get it over with. That's how I felt about it. There's something foreboding about your first time as a woman, and there's something like, for me, it felt like rip the band-aid off as far as virginity. So I wanted to get it over with, but I also wanted it to be something that I could explore. I was never really scared of my sexuality, but I had a lot of questions. I wish someone had told me what the clitoris was. In theory, I knew, but not technically. I wish someone had told me that penetration and penetrative orgasms are harder than you would think. That it wasn't going. I wish someone had told me that it wasn't going to be like it is in the movies.
How did you feel when you were listening to your mom and your grandmother speaking about sex?
It was less crazy than I thought it would be. It was less scary than I thought it would be. And there were questions that I knew I couldn't ask. That I wanted to, but maybe I just couldn't go there. And maybe one day, someone can, or I could be able to. I do feel closer to my family after the interviews. I feel like we can talk about stuff.
I was really scared going into this, but it's actually been not that big of a deal. We all opened up a little bit and listened to each other, and looking back, it was really fun and funny learning about my mom and grandmother's perspectives. So I'm glad I caught it all on film, and I got to do it with a really cool crew. So it was an amazing experience.
Whisper your words are clear.